Year 10 composition by Joe Miniter of Ashfield 2131. Narrated by Janine Penfold. Quite often, as you wait, perhaps for a friend or perhaps for a bus, you observe, sometimes unconsciously, the people around you. I observed one such person recently, and it made me realise that you can be in love no matter what your age. She was about 70, and she waited, just as I was waiting. Her dress was rather long, and her white blouse yellowed in some parts. She wore a green felt hat with a large white hat pin in the back. On her feet, she wore black tie shoes, probably the longest wearing and best support for someone her age. In a string bag beside her, she had stacked many parcels of odd shapes and sizes. Obviously, she intended to wait for some time because she put them on the ground and sat on the stone fence. Her face was wrinkled and wan, and as she looked at her watch, her face showed a little anxiety. I wondered who or what she was waiting for. I glanced down at her hands, wrinkled and brown. They looked as if they had seen many years of hard work. As I studied them, I noticed 2 gold bands on her third finger of her left hand, one very thin and old-looking, and one, much to my amazement, shiny, thick, and very new-looking. The cars at the light stopped, and as they did, a warm glow came over her face. I wondered what she was thinking. I did not look up. I was too interested in her. A few moments later, an old gentleman of about her age came toward her. He also was wearing a shiny gold band on his third left finger. The closer he came, the more you could see the warmth and relief in her old but somewhat beautiful face. When he reached where she was sitting, she stood up immediately, and as he took her shopping basket, so she took his arm. As they both walked slowly away, I too felt a warm glow inside. This is what she wrote when she was 16, more than 50 years ago. It was titled, Descriptive Composition, A Person. Her teacher gave her 8.5 out of 10 with the comment, lovely. Not bad, I thought. It is descriptive and draws the reader in. But as I reflect on the piece as someone who now is nearly as old as the subject, and after a lifetime spent writing and editing, how would I critique the piece? And how would I be portrayed should I be observed in the same way? As a writer, what would I tell her? That she should savour the opportunity to use her imagination. Many people earn their living as writers, but not all get to choose what they write about. Most of my career as a writer was in government. We wrote, as a colleague used to say, to explain the inexplicable and defend the indefensible. This kind of writing was about facts, not imagination. I would tell her to use words wisely, foster a love of language, be succinct, respect the meaning of words, use words correctly, and use the correct word. And what of the subject matter? The 70-year-old with shabby clothes and a shining wedding ring. I can't criticise the description if this is what she actually saw, but this was not observation, it was imagination. So, I take issue with this. If I was the subject of the composition, what might be said? She was about 70. She wore a long, flowing dress. Covers the legs, but more comfortable than pants, especially in summer. And an attractive fedora to keep the sun from her face. Finally got the sun-safe messages after 40 years. On her feet, she wore a fashionable pair of brogues. Great support, especially after the knee replacements, but also smart. Perhaps her face was wan, but her foundation, bronzer, and subtle eye makeup had been skillfully applied. And love. No shiny new wedding ring here. I'm wearing the one I was given on my wedding day. I haven't found love in old age. I still love the man I married 36 years ago. But this is me, and mine is just one of many descriptions of a 70-year-old woman in 2023. Not all 70-year-olds are the same. It is a fact that 10 70-year-olds will be less alike than 10 7-year-olds. By the time we have reached our 70s, we are very different in terms of life experience, health, wealth, education, relationships, and what we want from what remains of this life. What this nearly 70-year-old woman wants may not be what another 70-year-old woman wants. Above all, this nearly 70-year-old woman wants to be treated as an individual. Not so long ago, I was a person. Now I'm a senior. I am more than my age. I am not a problem to be solved or taken care of, or for which a policy needs to be written. I want to be part of a community and a society that welcomes me as an individual regardless of my age. Why? Simply because I am more than my age. Just as we are all more than our gender, race, sexual orientation, or any of the many other descriptors and stereotypes people are assigned. When I think of how intolerant and discriminatory our society is, and has been, because of the thoughtless way we apply these descriptors, I am saddened at the lost opportunities for understanding, for friendship, and for building the best possible world. We are better people and have more fulfilling lives when we approach our fellow humans not with judgment, but with open hearts and minds. Life has taught me this. The end.